It is January 8th, 2018. I'm Glenn Rubenstein. This is the Wrestling Inc. podcast. With me, as always, Raj Giri and Justin LaBar. Mr. Matt Morgan's coming along soon. We're going to talk Monday Night Raw for January 8th, 2018. Also going to talk a little bit about Wrestle Kingdom 12, latest news in the Mixed Match Challenge. Woken Matt Hardy had his in-ring debut tonight, and The Miz and Maurice are getting a reality show. So, Justin, to you first overall, what did you think of Raw this evening?
So-so. Didn't completely kill it for me. Didn't completely win it for me. Obviously, they got two big milestones coming up that they're really booking towards Raw 25 with all the promotion that we saw tonight, and then of course Royal Rumble and the night that'll follow that the week after. So I mean, it was. I'll tell you this: I wasn't crazy. They started and they made the main event the 6-man tag, and in the same segment, they're also telling me how we're going to see Matt Hardy, as Woken Matt Hardy make an in-ring debut. We're going to see Brock Lesnar. And there was something else too. It was almost like they gave me all this other stuff that I was much more excited about. But, I'm supposed to be hanging on until the final 20 minutes for the 6-man tag main event, which I really just didn't do anything for me in terms of on paper. I mean, all the guys, it was a fine match, but in terms of trying to get me to hold on for 3 hours, doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, Raj, what did you think all in all tonight?
I thought it was just kind of there. I thought it started off pretty good. I was into it for a while, and then I think after the Lesnar thing, I just kind of got taken out of the show. And nothing felt like it mattered after that. It was just kind of there. Some of the Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax, their interaction I thought was terrible, but I did like the Nia beatdown of Asuka. I thought that was something cool. So yeah, I mean, overall, it was kind of like barely a thumbs up, I guess. I don't know.
I feel like
that was good, but it was just kind of thrown together and pointless.
Oh, definitely. That's what I wonder about with this. So with Finn Balor back with Gallows and Anderson, talking about reforming the Balor Club, leaning heavily tonight on their history in New Japan, talking about their shared history together. That's what I'm wondering. Like, okay, clearly now this isn't a one-off. They did pick up the win in the main event, but what's the storyline? They haven't really talked about yet. They were on the heel side during the tag match tonight, but Finn Balor, has always been booked as a babyface in the WWE. So I'm curious where they're going with the story. And I will say one thing, I criticize them a lot for redoing the same old. I feel like I don't know what's happening with the main event picture right now because we've got Jordan and Rollins as the tag champions. They're going to face the Bar for a rematch at the Royal Rumble. At the same time, we've got them teaming with Roman tonight, The Miz and The Miz Taraj doing that surprise attack at the end. We've got stuff with Balor Club going on. I like that it feels that the story could go in a variety of different directions this week, and we didn't just tune in tonight to see a one-on-one match between Sheamus and Seth Rollins again.
Yeah, it was just a long, pointless match with no repercussions, but I did like that. I like that they're going with with Finn and the club. They're called Balor Club, I guess now, and so that's good. But yeah, it was kind of odd. Like, are they heels now, or was it just this week? Are they all just kind of tweeners? So,
yeah. Glenn, you don't know where the Balor Club's going because they don't know where the Balor Club's going. I'm convinced that that Vince is kind of almost checked out to a point. It's like, well, if it's going to keep Finn happy, we'll put him with these guys. Who knows? Vince might be so invested in football planning that he's not even concerned about what Finn Balor's doing. I don't know.
That opening though with them calling Jason Jordan a nerd and Jason slaps him across the face. I'm surprised he didn't demand satisfaction and challenge him to a duel. That was a really, really sort of dumb response.
Speaking of nerds.
Hey, Mr. Matt Morgan. Commissioner Morgan joining us tonight.
Commissioner Morgan.
What's going on, guys? How are you?
Doing well, man. So what'd you think of tonight's Raw?
Well, it was impossible not to fall asleep during. No, it's same old crap. Like you guys just were hitting on. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, a little soft, but we can hear you.
Same old crap. I got nothing new for you. Brock's overselling for people he shouldn't be selling for, and great show. Miz's return was good. There's elements that were good. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah, I think the Miz might have been the best thing on this show. But
well, do we want to go segment by segment? We talked a little about the opening there. After that, the women's tag match, Sasha Banks and Bayley versus Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. Sasha Banks and Bayley did win there, which I thought was interesting.
Great job by Bayley and crew leading Mandy and Sonya. Because if you watch that match, obviously Paige is not 100%. Hence why she didn't do anything physical. So it's making Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville have to do more of this in-ring stuff. And if you watch it, Sasha and Bayley definitely did the best they could leading the two younger girls.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that story. So Paige had an injury at a house show. What was it? The beginning of last week. How serious is that? And is she out of action for a bit of time?
It looks like a precaution because she hasn't worked since then, but she's traveling. They're not, they're keeping her on TV. They declared for the Royal Rumble last week, right? Yeah. So,
obviously they're not letting her do anything physical, but they want to keep her out there because if you don't have her there, then all of a sudden this new absolution thing just dies in the water, and it already was having trouble getting off the ground anyways. But if you look, they were starting something with Paige and Asuka. It looks like they've diverted away from that with Nia. So I wonder how bad off Paige really is.
Yeah. Who knows? Matt, has this angle done anything for you with the absolution in general, regardless of Paige's injury?
I liked it. Yeah, I just think I still think they're at a stage where I've been saying this whole time. There's two girls that shouldn't be talking yet, right?
Yeah.
But you want to know something? Had they not, we would have known a hell of a lot less about the two. Not that we know that much about them, but we wouldn't even have heard those voices now with Paige's injury and the proverbial ball given to these two girls, if you will, now because of the injury. The girls are a lot better than people I think give them credit for. Mandy, just because she's, the blonde model type, she's athletic as crap. And she put her time in through that performance center, and she's a lot better than people think she is. But once she starts, shaking those nervous cobwebs, if you will, and things like that, she'll be a completely different person. I mean, she's a thoroughbred. You can think and say what you want about her. Look at her background. If any of you done any research on her, she's an athlete through and through, more than the other two girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem I had with this match was it feels like we've been seeing this match for the last 2 months.
That's every match. I could say that with every tag and six-man tag, except for tonight's six-man tag.
And there we go. All of those are the same thing. So that's the problem I had with this show, is it just feels like it's just redundancy for 2 hours and 1 hour of new stuff. So the same match. I think they pretty much did it last week, except with Mickie James instead of Sasha, right?
Yeah.
So same.
So by the way, can I just say Mickie James looks stunning.
She looked great tonight, more than usual. I mean, she always looks great.
She has the best working punch in the business.
Yeah.
Yeah, she looked fantastic. But just this match, and you know what? It's too bad because I thought Sonya Deville, to Matt's point, I thought Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose looked really good tonight. I thought this was the best that they've looked in the ring since they debuted. They didn't look like a couple of rookies out there.
That's every night. That's every night working house shows and live events and getting that. I don't want a main event level for the female experience. You know what I mean? On live events like that, working with the best.
Yeah.
Shouldn't Mickie be siding with Absolution? I mean, storyline-wise, kayfabe-wise, shouldn't that be kind of... Well, because Absolution's whole thing is about Paige talking about, the women's revolution. They talk about this, and she was there before them. Mickie should be like, yeah, and if you think you've got a bone to pick, let me tell you about mine.
Yeah, I was there even before you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I think they've kind of totally forgotten about their storyline anyway. They're just in a perpetual feud with no rhyme or reason. Remember, they were all hugging and raising each other's hands just a few weeks ago with that Royal Rumble announcement. So
yeah, not a hotbed of continuity and storytelling, the WWE.
No, especially when the whole point of Royal Rumble was every person for themselves, and you make the announcement with everybody raising their hands together. That's just
right.
Let's throw each other. Let's all jump out at the same time.
Let's all wait till the end so we're all in together.
Let's do it.
If they all wear black wardrobe to the ring, then I'm turning Rumble off.
Oh Jesus.
Well, getting political, but hey man, I think there's so much they could do with these women, and they they just book them the same week in, week out. I think Sasha and Paige, they have such good characters and they stand out, and they're not doing anything with them. It's too bad to see. And Mickey and Bailey, for that matter. I just feel bad with how far she's fallen.
Oh yes. So Matt Hardy tonight, Woken Matt Hardy had a match versus Kurt Hawkins. Kurt, go for it.
I'm cutting the whole shit. I'm sorry, I'm cutting this shit off. Listen, I love Matt Hardy. Tonight sucked. That sucked.
Ew.
That sucked. That sucked. That sucked. That freaking sucked.
What night hasn't sucked?
That was this was the worst. I would rather watch Matt Hardy on the freaking Titantron 1,000 more times over doing his stupid laugh than tonight in the ring in a face-to-face confrontation doing it. It was so, and not good, uncomfortable.
I tweeted when it was going on. I was like, please don't anyone walk in this room right now during this.
Yes. Myself.
And I hear my wife's footsteps. I'm like, ah, shit, it's coming.
Dude, thank God there's no reflection so I can see myself watching this.
Just the shame.
Seriously, guys, this was bad. And I love this character. What am I missing? You guys all tell me. What am I missing between this and the TNA version? Because I didn't see too much of the TNA version. What am I missing?
I think the TNA version had more charm. It had more of a story.
It was more organic. Like this feels like Matt Hardy's playing that character, whereas the TNA version, it seemed like he was that character, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're definitely manufacturing more of the TNA. I mean, they're manufacturing and keeping it inside the WWE walls. You know, the TNA version felt like anything could happen, which in some ways it did. I mean, we saw an entire episode happen from the Hardy property.
Yeah.
The biggest problem with tonight was, like, I understand it's like a battle of mind games having this feud with another character like Bray Wyatt. It was so awkward, as Matt just said. Bray either needed to physically attack Matt, or after a quick laugh, like 5-10 seconds, the horror graphic needs to hit, and Bray Wyatt needs to then disappear again.
Yeah,
it was very awkward. It made neither of them look strong, and it didn't. I mean, you know, Matt Hardy's got a little bit of the overness for the people that get the character so far. Bray Wyatt, right now, here's my fear. I mean, you know, you always want both men to be elevated when you come out of a program.
You said this a while ago, though, I remember.
Right. The problem is Matt Hardy is playing Bray Wyatt better than Bray Wyatt plays Bray Wyatt.
Right.
And the problem with Bray Wyatt is he has not had a good feud in forever. I mean, I was, you know, just looking at Chris Jericho, and we'll talk a little bit about Wrestle Kingdom, but man, the stuff he did with Kenny Omega was fantastic. Like when he has the reins on a feud, and everyone forgets that Jericho was involved in a feud with Bray Wyatt, right? Like that is such a forgotten feud. Like
I don't remember it.
They do all this creepy, exactly, because they do all this spooky stuff with Bray Wyatt that it just gets tossed away, and you forget about these feuds, and they do nothing. It does nothing for no one. I can't remember the last time Bray Wyatt had a feud that, you know, that elevated both characters.
The guy had a WrestleMania match with The Undertaker, and it meant nothing. How what does that say?
Yeah, that's one of Taker's most forgetful WrestleMania matches. And again, I don't blame necessarily Wyatt. I blame how WWE books his gimmick. It's like Taker's gone, so they need to use their special effects, and they do all this goofy stuff that, you know, like it just doesn't work.
You know what I think it is? And again, Matt could speak better than all of us to this, but we always hear about how, you know, how many writers are and how convoluted the creative process can be in WWE. And, you know, it makes me think that if you have a guy like Bray Wyatt, rather than just 1 or 2 or 3 people, special people writing Bray Wyatt's character, you have a room of potentially 20 to 25 people. So it starts here at this side of the table, and somebody's got a great idea for Bray Wyatt and this promo and this special effect. By the time it gets all the way around the table, you're talking about something that is completely different. I think that's what happens. I think everything just gets lost in the shuffle, and all we know is that we're writing a whole bunch of riddles. We're going to throw some horror graphics, some smoke, a lantern, a laugh, and the people will enjoy it.
Yeah, and the thing with tonight was, and this has been happening every week. You know, when they show Matt Hardy, when he comes out, he gets this big pop. By the time the segment's done, everyone's just lost, and it just sucks by the end. Because I thought Matt Hardy came out, I thought his entrance music was cool. I thought the theme was cool. It was, you know, even though I don't know why they still had the Hardy Boys graphic when he came out, but
you can't have that. Listen, why is he doing the laugh though? That's what I don't get. He didn't. I didn't watch everything in TNA, but I watched it up. No, he wasn't doing that stupid laugh the entire time. He was doing the delete gimmick the whole time. He was doing a lot of other different things. He wasn't doing that stupid laugh and the gold does at the end. He wasn't doing that.
He would do the laugh a little bit, but yeah, definitely not like this. It wasn't like a
Yeah, like a couple seconds in between these ridiculous words he would throw out there, right?
Yeah.
But like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I think it's them throwing their spin on it. I don't know.
I could see Vince coaching that up.
They've ruined so many. Like, just sit back and shut up and get out of these people's way. I mean, from Nakamura to there's so many guys we can list right now. What's her name? The Japanese female wrestler. What's her name again?
Asuka.
Jesus Christ. Asuka. There's so many talents that they have managed to hurt. All they had to do is just shut up and get out of their way and let them come in and do their thing the way it was done either in NXT or in New Japan in certain cases. Yeah. And it would have been fine. Matt Hardy's another thing. I don't get it.
They've been doing this forever. You remember Goldberg when he came in, and then they WWE-ified him, and he wasn't near as effective. Then they brought him back. When they brought him back last year, they let him be him, and it was way more effective.
Bobby Roode. We can name every NXT call-up almost, I think.
Pretty much, except for Alexa Bliss. But
except for Alexa Bliss, yeah.
But yeah, I think this is one of those cases that the more and more they put their hands on it, the worse it gets. And yeah.
We'll see. You think they're going to be on do a segment on Raw 25?
Yeah.
Maybe get bring back maybe bring back Papa Shango and the Boogeyman and get him in there. You know, the 4-way.
They could have a laugh off. You know how they would do those dance offs for a while. Oh God, I hope. I could almost see them going to that too.
It's gonna kill their heat going. When's the Rumble? What date?
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
The week after Raw 25.
And it's going to kill their heat going into the Rumble. Not that there's much now after that ridiculousness we just watched tonight, but it's going to kill it furthermore when there is a Papa Shango or some idiot in there laughing, Doink the Clown, laughing in there with them in a threesome.
That could be worse. Hornswoggle could come back. I mean,
Don't say that.
Yeah. But actually, Matt, your point to what you said, that would actually, what I would love to see is I would love to see Matt doing the laugh, Matt Hardy, Bray come out and say exactly what you said and talk about how much that sucks and stupid, cut it out. And then Matt Hardy go to start burying Bray Wyatt about how he hasn't had a decent feud and he spouts the same nonsense and just have them bury each other. That would be fantastic.
You know what would be great at this point is I'd like Matt Hardy to be doing that laugh. Elias comes in and nails him upside the head with his guitar. That's what I like.
Well, Elias,
it sucks because I was one of those ones, I've been saying this forever that there's a lot of money in that broken gimmick if they could do it properly. And if, I want to see Matt do it because he did it perfectly. I mean, it was the hottest thing in wrestling last year. I mean, you had TNA, a show that no one watches, and everyone knew what that was. And here we are.
Yep. Elias tonight introducing The Miz, making his return. Elias getting booed for mentioning Elvis and Elvis's birthday. That was kind of weird, but the crowd was
they saw where he was going.
yeah, but they were with him with the Walk with Elias thing, man. 2 weeks, and he got the crowd to do it pretty loud tonight. So kudos to them for getting that over. But The Miz is back. Had a segment with The Miz to Raj. Can
I just say
I like Elias here, by the way, just as a side note. I think Elias.
You love Elias.
I'm an Elias fan. He sold me.
Is that why you're growing the beard?
Yeah, exactly.
He's walking.
Can you play guitar?
No.
Wow.
Gotta work on that.
He's not shaving with Elias.
Yeah.
No, I'm a fan of Elias too. I like, if you actually think about it, there's always pressure on guys coming from NXT to the main roster. I think, a few slips here and there, but they've actually booked Elias pretty well. And part of it's been they haven't tried to shoot him too fast up. He's just kind of like they always find a spot for him. He's been protected for the most part. I liked it. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I was kind of into it, but I did laugh though when he brought the Miz Taraj out, and I'm looking at Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas with the hair and the dress and everything. He looked like Meatloaf after like a DDP yoga session. I mean, look at him. He looked ridiculous.
Yeah.
I
don't know, Elias. He's got that intangible. He looks like a star. You pay attention to him when he's out, and yeah, I thought I like that comment about Bo Dallas. That sounds about right. He was looking like Bray tonight, and I was like, dang.
Hey, it's the team up, man. They should just make it happen finally. In fact, so they're doing voting for Bayley's partner for the Mixed Match Challenge on Facebook. Elias is one of the candidates. Is Elias, Samoa Joe, or Jason Jordan? The voting is open now on the Mixed Match Challenge Facebook page. But Samoa Joe had a decent lead last I checked. I think Elias and Bailey would be a fantastic pairing, just for how weird it would be. Samoa Joe at 59%. So,
can I ask a dumb question?
Yeah.
And maybe this is gonna like expose me as I shouldn't even be on this podcast. What is the mix chat? Is it a video game? Like, what are they doing?
It's on Facebook Live. They're doing a Facebook Live.
Yeah, starting next Tuesday. 20 minutes of programming is going to stream on Facebook, and it's going to be a tournament of mixed tag teams, one man, one woman, and they'll be competing. The prize will go to the charity of their choosing, and I think it's going to be like, what is it, like 8 weeks, 12 weeks,
but
a lot of weeks on
how
Facebook.
Are they competing? Is it virtual? Are they in a ring? Like,
no, it's real.
It's like a tournament.
It's like an actual match.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
These teams compete against each other in a tournament.
After SmackDown, Tuesdays.
205 Live fans are going to have to wait an extra 20 minutes for 205 Live starting.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
And
by the way, the first 205 Live event was canceled. So they booked the 3 for that weekend. The first one's already canceled, but the 2 are still scheduled for right now.
I tickets, folks. This could be a once in a lifetime, twice in a lifetime thing. 205 live events. Yeah, man. So Mixed Match Challenge. This is different, we've talked about the business side of this. So the word is that Vince is putting his all into this because he thinks it could maybe drive up the renewal rates that are going to have to be paid by USA next year if Silicon Valley money gets interested in streaming rights to the WWE. And as Raj has pointed out, it would be a smaller audience, but they have such huge cash at their disposal that it could trigger more of a bidding war for the rights to WWE programming if this is successful. But we'll see. I mean, it would have to do. What do you think would be a success for this, Raj, on Facebook Live? What, 500,000, 1 million?
I think they would need to get some of their biggest numbers, I think, to make a dent on the kind of rights fees that USA is currently paying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would have to be like one of the most streamed shows on Facebook Live ever.
Yeah, well, we'll see. And yes, as someone's pointing out in the chat, it's predetermined, but the winner wins money for a charity. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. What are the odds that it's Connor's Cure?
Oh, it's absolutely Connor's Cure or Susan G. Komen. Probably Connor's Cure, though.
Yeah, that would be so messed up if they had announced their charities ahead of time, and it's a scripted thing, and all these charities are like, oh, so
Sammy comes out and announces Sammy,
so we don't get this, this donation.
Sammy announces Sammy for Syria, and then gets pinned week 1.
No.
I got to ask you guys, what do you think the benefit is? Is it better for WWE to remain on USA or a major cable network and then push to the pay-per-views on the WWE Network? Or is it better for them to try to have enough leverage to say, we're taking all of our programming, Raw and SmackDown included, and you got to go to the WWE Network? I mean, because you can make the case that being on USA, grabbing the casual people will help, maybe push them to the WWE Network. But then you can also think, how many people that aren't subscribed to the network might subscribe to it just so they can see Raw and SmackDown? I don't know. I'm curious what you guys think.
How do you get new fans?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking. But are there any more new fans really to get, or are they just going to try to monetize the hell out of the 3 million people that watch now?
Yeah. I mean, that's the predicament that they're in at this point, right?
Well, first of all, I mean, they've been, we've seen how long they've been around, and there's, basically you got 1 million subscribers in the US, and you got 3.2 million watching, let's just say 4 million between Raw and SmackDown unique viewers a week. So
for TV, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you switch it all to the network. Most of those people have had the chance to subscribe already. So you're going to lose a big chunk of people who just watch, but they're not so into it that they're going to spend $10 a week for it. So you're saying to stay relevant in pop culture and to bring potential new fans, you still need to be on a free service. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a constant infomercial for them to new demographics. As people clicking through the channels, there's still something to be said for that they think that it's not working, but they think people clicking through the channels, the goal is to get them to stop and to get them to be new fans. The problem is they can't rate worth shit. So no one's stopping and watching.
Well, here's the problem now too.
Like they used to.
Yeah, and here's the problem is that they would lose existing fans. So it's not even not getting new fans, which they're having a hard time doing.
I think people, I don't know. I think if you took Raw off that television screen, Raj, I'd buy the network again if I had to.
I'm sure a lot of people would, but I think there's a lot of people that aren't as diehard that just watch because it's on, but won't pay for it. I mean, WrestleMania is on, and they're not jumping to the network, for that. So
they're gonna go digital all the way one day. They have to, right? That's where all TV is headed.
I think ultimately, I mean, it's like, what's even streaming anymore? Like, is PlayStation View, do you consider that streaming, even though that's basically direct TV, except through the internet?
Fire Stick. That's all I watch is Fire Stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
kind of Hulu's, all those channels I watch.
Yeah.
It's going, you saw with Netflix, right? Like, once it starts, it takes a little bit to catch on, but once it does, now you don't see video stores anymore. Blockbuster's dead. So
I don't watch real TV anymore except for the show. I swear to God. Like I didn't understand it at first, the whole like Fire Stick thing. And then it made total sense to me. And we got rid of most of our like crap cable channels I never watched anymore. You know what I mean? And within 1 year, it's all I watched is the Fire Stick.
Yeah, I mean, we went from $150 a month for DirecTV to to PlayStation View, paying a third of that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you don't think they're going to go there one day? You don't think they'll be 100% streamed?
I'm sure. I think if it will be, it'll be a channel that anyone can get.
Well, and this will be a test. The Mixed Match Challenge will be a test of their tech audience. How much of their audience has the means and the know-how and the want to watch their product live streaming?
And is a mixed tag tournament the way to go? Or is Brock Lesnar working Nakamura a way to go?
Right, and to play off what Matt just said, that's what I was genuinely not educated until you guys have said this. I didn't know what it was. That's the other thing. They are totally breaking kayfabe with this. They have it looked like those things they filmed with Goldust and Alicia Fox, and then Miz and Asuka. It looked like they actually kind of filmed them pretty legit. Like legit. They kind of shoot. Like Goldust didn't expect Fox to come in, and Miz didn't know it was going to be Asuka. It really came off that way. And so obviously you have you're breaking heels and faces here in some regards. So the fact that they're doing this and they're breaking kayfabe, they're kind of just saying, look, we're all characters, forget the heels and faces thing. That's another factor that I don't know if it could really help them, but it could really hurt them. I don't know.
And this voting is the first time they're doing you pick the partner, so shades of Cyber Sunday.
They didn't really, though. I think it was a part of it.
Right, I don't.
Yeah, no, it's a small part. I mean,
Apollo Crews was never an option to vote for Nia Jax, and
they put Lana and Rusev together. I mean,
they're doing it for Bayley, but it's not going to be the top.
So some of it's yeah.
Although I have to say, if you guys watched it, the thing with Nia looking so miserable being chosen by Titus, paired with Titus Worldwide, was, I thought, one of the funnier things that I've seen the WWE do in a while.
Yeah.
She looks like she wants no part of that. So we'll talk about Titus Worldwide picking up a rare victory tonight. 2018, you're a Titus Worldwide. Plus Enzo and his match against Cedric Alexander and more. But first, we've talked about this. Got to give some love to the sponsor of this episode, SeatGeek. Y'all know buying tickets to sports and concerts can be so complicated and confusing, but there's a better way to buy, and that's SeatGeek. SeatGeek, the smartest, easiest way to get tickets to every type of live event, whether you're searching for a last-minute deal, planning a night out, or just need to find the perfect gift. SeatGeek helps you find the best seats at the best prices, and they're fully guaranteed. There's nothing quite like seeing your favorite team, musician, or WWE superstar in person, and SeatGeek will get you closer to the action than ever before for a fantastic value. You've heard us talk about this. I have the SeatGeek app on my phone. Raj has it on his. He used it to buy Lady Gaga tickets. I used mine to get Hamilton tickets. God, a year and a half ago. Yes, Hamilton. You want some comedy? Go through the archives when I explained to Mr. Matt Morgan what the musical Hamilton is. But I got those tickets on SeatGeek, and I bought tickets to a WWE live event in Sacramento coming up using the SeatGeek app. I love it because it's the easiest way I found to shop for tickets. It could be anywhere with just a few taps. I can instantly find seats. And what's great about it is that it makes the ticket buying experience easier than ever. It actually saves you time and money by searching multiple ticket sites to compare prices and find amazing deals. And to get you the most bang for your buck, SeatGeek grades every ticket based on value to help you immediately identify the best seats that fit your budget. And again, every purchase fully guaranteed, so you can shop for tickets on SeatGeek with confidence. Make SeatGeek your go-to app for finding the best deals on every type of ticket, from sports, concerts, wrestling, theater, comedy, and more. And best of all, our listeners get $20 off their first SeatGeek purchase. Just download the SeatGeek app for iOS or Android and enter the promo code INC today. That's promo code INC for $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase. And we thank them for sponsoring the Wrestling
Real quick, I also use SeatGeek to buy Broncos tickets. Why do you keep bringing up the Lady Gaga tickets? So I've used it for a few different things, not just Lady Gaga tickets.
Gaga was for your wife. Gaga was for your wife.
It was for the wife. But it was an awesome show regardless. But yeah, SeatGeek, it was simple, easy, and now that's all I use. I mean, even when we're not, when they're not a sponsor, that's what I'm using. So definitely download it. Simple to use. Check it out.
Yeah, good stuff. So tonight, the WWE Cruiserweight title match, Cedric Alexander versus Enzo Amore. Enzo missed last week because he was out with the flu, but he was back tonight to go with Cedric. Matt, what'd you think of this match and how just violent it got there at the end with Enzo getting busted open?
Good is what it was. That's something that's very needed in this division, because I keep watching it and just look like a bunch of prepubescent boys flip-flopping, flying around the goddamn ring. minus save a nasty Enzo promo, of course. That's literally what I think of this division at this point. It's not these guys' fault. It's how they're written for. It's definitely how they're written for. But again, I'll always go back to, there's something to be said, and this is not some old wrestler who's not wrestling anymore and just hating on the younger generation. That's not what this is. This is when I click through the channels, and if I'm Joe Public and I'm clicking and I want to watch wrestling, and I stop and I saw that, I'd be impressed with the athleticism. That would be it. None of those guys would I be scared would kick my ass in a fight. In fact, none of those guys I would ever accuse of getting into a fight actually in real life. And that's not good. That is not good for business. And they always say you need to have a larger-than-life persona. That's how we always talk, right? Meaning the character. But there's something to be said about being larger than life as well physically. It doesn't mean you have to be 7 feet tall, 300 pounds. It means you have to look like you've gotten into a fight. Harley Race looked like he got into a fight. All these guys look like they fought. Even though they were fat slobs, they looked like they had gotten in fights before. And when I watched this division, none of them look like they have. They look like they've gotten, I don't know, like friggin' Madden, they knocked each other's remote controls out of their hands during the Madden competition, and that's about as crazy as it got.
What you're saying is it looks like they've gotten their asses kicked, but not like they've been in a fight.
Definitely, no, their way of fighting is what I just said. Knocking each other's remote controls out of their hands, playing Madden against one another. And trying to cheat with one another. You know what I mean? That's literally what I see from these kids. And tonight that was good. That was needed, I thought. There was a tone that took that was very different for that division. Yeah,
I think that's a problem with a lot of wrestling right now in general. Is it's so much performance based. It's like who does the best, flips and high spots, and it's not like that simulated thing where you want to see these two guys, even if I'm not a boxing fan, I still want to see Mayweather and McGregor, right? Because those guys are like these superstars, these people that'll draw in someone that doesn't normally watch. And for a current fan that likes the matches and everything, that's great. And New Japan, I was blown away with Wrestle Kingdom, but
they beat the crap out of each other. You watch sorry, go ahead. The style's different, but it's way better in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I watching that and then going to this, I just felt just their build up to matches and stuff. It just felt real. You get into it. It's not hokey, like how this match, that Kurt Angle making this match tonight. It's like, dude, they were feuding for 3 minutes, with the Balor Club, and they went back and forth on the mic for a couple minutes, and we got to settle this tonight.
Well, and to the example that Matt used about, do these guys look like they've been in a fight? You have Enzo Amore, who, credit to him, he comes off every week as, God, I just want to slap this guy.
Yeah.
Now, he really comes off, and they've also blurred the lines a little bit with real of he's not allowed to dress in a locker, whatever. But they've done a good job. He comes off as this little prick you want to slap. But, oh, by the way, he's this little prick you want to slap who you think couldn't win in a fight, and he's the champion of the division.
Yeah, that's the catch-22 with Enzo, right? Is he's got so much more star power than anyone in that division, but he's not necessarily the most realistic champ. But then again, you know, no one is.
Who is?
Neville was.
Okay,
that was
yes.
But Enzo increased the viewership significantly.
Oh, Lord, yeah.
He did for a little bit. I don't know. I think it's back to where it is now, right?
Listen, I fast forward through 205 Live each week just because he's on it. Before he was on it, I didn't watch it at all.
Yeah, but now it's back out of the top 10 shows on the network each week.
What, you really think those are real statistics?
Yeah, I mean, they don't release them. This is, this was from the Observer.
Oh, wow.
Well, he gets those ratings and, you know, all that stuff, like the pay-per-view numbers and stuff. But yeah, it's okay. They also have the most popular shows on the network. If you go, there's a way to find it.
Meltzer's throwing darts against the wall.
No, I mean, WWE has no reason to say 205 Live is not in their top 10 because that they invest a lot into
They canceled a live event. They couldn't sell enough tickets for a live event and pulled the date.
Yeah. You know, there's just so many problems with it. You know, doing it after SmackDown, obviously we talked about that forever. And then the biggest problem is the action isn't different than what you see in the other matches. Like, you know, back in the 90s, it was different. Rey Mysterio, versus Dean Malenko was very different than Nash versus Hogan in the main event. And you like both. You watch Nash versus Hogan for the superstars, and then you see this style of action that you never, really see. So it was awesome back in the day, but now it's all the same.
Absolutely. I've been preaching that from the beginning. 260-pound Kevin Owens can work the same type of match and style as the guys who are inferior to half the audience that are 205 or less. So if I'm tuning in and I go, well, shit, I'm 205 pounds. I might be able to kick that guy's ass. What's the draw? You know?
When you see Seth Rollins doing those moves in the main event, then, why are you watching these other guys that...
Hell, Samoa Joe to a degree.
Yeah, very athletic. So speaking about size, and by the way, Cedric won by a count out, and Enzo retains the title. Enzo, that was a work injury tonight, even after the thing with the ankle. We're all in agreement on that.
The blood was legit.
The blood was legit, but I'm saying his ankle, that was a work. Not,
of course.
Yeah. It was ketchup.
Yeah.
Ketchup. The blood capsules. Remember, that's what people used to think back in the day.
Oh, geez. To your point about size, Matt, I'll say tonight, man, Titus O'Neil getting in the ring again with Apollo Crews, going against the Bar. Titus looked, just mammoth. He looked like Sasquatch over these guys.
He is. He's every bit of 6'4", 6'5". He's a big dude.
Yeah. Looked great. Came out primetime players theme, keeping that going. But Titus Worldwide, Dana Brooke.
So you announced this tag team.
Yeah.
To get a title shot, and then the first thing they do is lose. Right? This is why none of these titles get over. No one cares about any of the other title matches on the undercard.
Yeah. Hey, when they're losing to Titus Worldwide, I actually had to look it up. Titus has won more than I remembered him winning. Like, he's picked up more wins than I thought he had, but he just hasn't wrestled that much over the last.
I'm assuming they're turning it into a three-way at the Royal Rumble with Titus and
with
Apollo.
Titus Worldwide.
Why else do that?
They're getting a push. After last week, this week, this looks like it, right? This is not just they're not on main event.
Yeah, because Royal Rumble is one of those pay-per-views where they want to fit everyone in, and 30 spots isn't. Well, I guess it's 50. I don't know, 60.
That's what they do it though. They do it in the Rumble match. They don't throw a throwaway match like that though. They'll do it. They'll include everybody getting a participation award in the Battle Royal, not in like singles and tags and 6-man tags.
But they take a lot of the same people that were in the matches earlier and still put them in the Rumble.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so they could be doing that too. Who knows?
I don't see how that means Titus gets on the damn card in a real match.
Yeah, I think. First of all, I think this is going to be a kickoff show match to begin with. This tag title match, and
you think it's going to be a 3-way for the tag?
Mm-hmm.
Oh God.
Yeah. Well, let's also remember.
Because they've been doing Seth, and not necessarily Jordan, but Ambrose against the Bar forever. So I guess this is their way of mixing it up a little.
I don't need it mixed up.
I know. Hey, I agree with you. But I think that's the only way this ending made sense, unless they're just doing a rematch next week to just, you know, where the bar wins and it was meant for nothing.
Time's not necessarily a factor. I was at Rumble last year in San Antonio. The thing was almost 5 hours. I mean, you know, they can. It's their own network. They can do however long they want to do. So
this year's 6 hours. I think last year was 6 hours too. It's a 4-hour main card and 2 hours for the kickoff. But the kickoff is, you know, an hour and 15 minutes of filler, and then, you know, maybe a half hour, 45 minutes of matches.
I literally was just about, speaking of the pre-show, I was just about to say some David Otunga shit with this observation. It's like, oh, if it's the 3-way, then Titus really has an advantage having Dana Brooke as that third member there to cause a distraction. I think they have a chance at winning.
They could.
That's my channeled David Otunga prognosticating the events of a predetermined sport.
Dana Brooke, she is no Miss Hancock.
Oh man, this was a weird episode tonight, and I had just yeah. Okay, so Paul Heyman comes out there, does the Paul Heyman thing, responding on behalf of Brock Lesnar. I don't even know what his point was with all of this. Something formidable opponents. Oh, every one of these matches, since he's held the belt, is a test of what he can endure and survive. Whereas I think the fans just see it as who's going to lose to Brock this time. But that promo isn't really what this was about. It was about the attack that happened and went into backstage with Kane, Braun, and Brock going at it, stuff being thrown, Braun throwing a grappling hook and pulling down scaffolding, and Brock Lesnar being taken out in an ambulance. Okay, Matt, what did you think of this as the build-up to that 3-way match at the Royal Rumble between Braun, Kane, and Brock?
First of all, you know I hate the fact that Kane's in this at all, right?
Yes.
Anything. Look, I'm pro anything with Braun. You know what I mean? Getting over on people. I hate everything about this except I don't want Kane in this match. He's killing it for me. That's all I gotta say. It's. I don't know when they're just gonna take the kitty gloves off of Braun already, booking wise, and just let him go full tilt. I mean, I don't see what's so hard about letting him go over on Brock. I don't get it.
Well, the plan is for Roman and Brock at WrestleMania.
I don't give a shit what their plan is with those two. I'm not saying that to you. I'm saying it to them. Yeah. It's not their match. That's not what people want to see.
Yeah.
That's as we've seen before. That doesn't always matter. Vince
McMahon will tell you what you want to see, Matt.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, the crowd will be so loud about something, so against, so objective on something. You know what I mean?
Batista.
Eventually they'll give in. You know what I mean? I just thought Braun is over like Rover. I don't know. And that's rare. Do you guys have any idea? Like, to be a monster, to be a big dude, and to get over as a babyface nowadays? Guys, like, this is like spotting Bigfoot. This is impossible to do. That's why we're always booked as heels. Always. Because it's much easier for me to go in the ring versus some sideshow midget pissant and be the bully and be the bigger versus smaller guy, David versus Goliath. There's a million stories we could tell, all the same narrative, right? And be the big cocky big guy. It's an easy story everyone can digest. We're never booked as baby faces in this manner because of that. Because of today's society, it is much harder to get cheered than booed. And Braun's got it down.
Yep. Matt, I 100% agree with you. And I think that it's a case of Vince had his mind made up for a bulk of the time since last year's Mania that he wanted to see Roman versus Brock again. He had his reasons. And I think I agree with everything you said. I think what's happened is Braun organically, which is the best way, circa Stone Cold Steve Austin 96, 97, right? I think Braun has just gotten over to the point where guys are like, or, you know, fans are like, this guy's something special. He's a badass. He's not pandering to me. I want to see what he's going to do next. I want to champ Braun and see what destruction he can and hell he can raise. But Vince has not yet detoured. Now, maybe he does. Maybe Braun wins at Rumble. Maybe something happens. But up to this point, it seems like, you know, Braun he's defied the odds against everything you said. But Vince has his mind made up that he wants Roman versus Brock, and he has some picture of how he wants Mania to end with confetti and pyro, and that's that.
But here's the thing. Braun is his wet dream. Let's just be honest. He's bigger. He's stronger. He's badder. I'm being serious. This is a Vince McMahon creation if there ever was one. That's what I don't get here. We're not talking about a smaller guy than Roman, I'm talking, or Daniel Bryan or someone like that. We're talking about a guy twice the guy's size. That's what I'm shocked at.
Well,
yeah, I just wonder if he sees Roman as more a crossover guy, whereas Brock
definitely is. He so is. Yes, of course he is.
Yeah, so I just.
But don't you think he wins the Rumble? I bet you Braun somehow gets his way in the Rumble, wins it.
Man, I don't know. Because it looks like, I don't think they're changing Reigns and Lesnar, and I think it's going to be Braun and Triple H. So,
okay.
But here's the cool thing. I think Reigns' first feud as the Universal Champ could be against Braun Strowman, and they could carry that through the rest of the year.
Feud. That was a good feud.
Great feud.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be Braun. Now, granted, they're going to have to book it in such a way that if they want Roman to retain the title, but I think that'll be a great feud to have as the centerpiece of Raw.
But Glenn, here's the issue.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Braun fan. I mean, I was a huge Braun fan from the moment he debuted when he had no matches on NXT TV. The problem is how many times do you go around with Braun being in the title picture
and not winning,
and him not win until you've blown the flame out?
Yes,
he's already worked with Roman, did the whole ambulance spot, all that stuff, didn't win it. Then he goes up against Brock back in September, doesn't win it. He's going up against Braun now here in Rumble. How many times until you? I mean, like, how many times? How many lives does he have to give?
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. That's why I was surprised they put him in this match.
With bigger guys, that's worse. It's harder, but is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? We only have so many opportunities to look like a destructive monster before you guys give up on watching us as one.
Matt, did you ever, if you don't want me to ask while we detour, did you ever have a time, especially in WWE, or TNA too, I guess, in your career, did you ever have a time where, nothing against the talent themselves, but creative wanted you to give, on the long haul especially, too much to somebody, especially smaller in size, where you're like, this doesn't make sense?
Sure, yeah.
Anybody can speak to, or, I mean...
One time with Jay Lethal, I remember, who's a friend of mine, but it was at a time when I was supposed to be going up against Kurt Angle, bound for glory, where I was supposed to be indestructible, going through Mick Foley, Booker T, Kevin Nash, Scott Steiner, one by one. And then I had this match with Jay Lethal, and they wanted him to take some offense. Hell, they had Brian Kendrick schoolboy me in a match out of nowhere. Little things like that on my quote unquote rise to where Kurt Angle in the Mount for Glory, main event match. So, yeah.
What were they doing with Jay Lethal? Was there some other agenda with Jay?
He was doing that thing with Flair, I want to say.
He was kind of hot at that point. Maybe that's the hottest
he was.
In
it's
TNA.
just somebody you keep both of us. You don't have us work one another. But bottom line is the size part of the thing. You know what I mean? And you just go out there and you do the job that you're asked to do, right? And plus, he was a friend, so I didn't. It's one of those deals where I didn't mind. I was always too nice.
Real quick, with this segment, are we going to bring up Paul Heyman holding Brock Lesnar's hand while he was on the stretcher? Did you guys notice that?
Yeah.
What the hell?
That's what he would really do.
Yeah, but when you'd really do, you'd really do that with Braun Strowman too, but you don't show that on TV.
They've humanized Brock a lot.
Yeah,
go around.
And then he stretchered out, put in an ambulance, and the Kane, he had the same thing dumped on him. He just kind of gets up and walks away.
But
yeah.
But you know what? Look, and I'm like a Vince guy. I'm a big guy. I want guys that are walk to the airport, that are larger than life.
Yeah.
I don't want to humanize Brock, but I'll say this: the guy's in his 40s. How much longer does he have? Wrestling, characters and booking legacy is just like a trust fund. You don't want it to go to waste. You want to make sure it gets passed on to somebody. So I will say this: maybe Vince and Brock and Paul know that, Lesnar's days are numbered. Lesnar's ready just to go off to his farm and really be done. So maybe that's the case. Humanizing him is a way of passing on the trust fund to Braun or whoever it is. So I'm willing to give that, because I would normally have the same complaint as you guys. But, given Brock's age, given the fact that Brock has been a title holder now several times since he's broken Taker's streak, how many more runs, how many more opponents do you have for him? We might be coming towards the end of Brock. And in that case, you've built up this trust fund of booking for him. You want to make sure you rub it off to somebody.
Right.
Braun
So
might
you have him.
Braun
so
might be
you-
the guy.
But then
So
you don't.
you-
Then you have Lesnar win at the Rumble. You
Well,
know?
No. Hang on. Listen, guys. Then you have him beat. Then you have Braun beat humanized Brock.
Ro-
F that. I want to see him beat Monster Brock
I agree.
Right.
because that means way much more. You tell me which Taker is better to get beat. Taker from, let's say, I don't know, 2002 versus the Taker that Brock just beat. I'll take Taker from 2002 as the guy that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as far as if you're giving on your legacy, you know what I mean? You want the guy at his highest peak to
Right.
give that that quote unquote overness over that rub over to the guy that's taking the ball now and running with it.
Yeah,
I
you have
agree.
Hulk Hogan,
Do you know what I mean?
scary monster Andre, not Andre that was running from Jake the Snake's snake.
Snake.
Right? Yeah, you got to. It's the timing. But yeah, I mean, I felt like last year was the right time for Braun to win when he was feuding with Brock. Because
Yeah.
and they could have had Brock win it back at the Rumble if they really want to do Brock and Reigns, but
Yes.
I just felt like there was an opportunity missed there.
Raj, I wasn't with Wrestling Inc. at the time, but at WrestleMania last year, I was saying if Brock's going to walk out as champion, the next night I wanted Braun to come out, and I wanted Brock and Heyman to come out on the Raw after Mania, tout how great they are, challenge anybody, have Braun come out. This is after Mania, and have Braun beat them on that night. I thought that would have been the way to do the Raw after Mania. Now we got Braun, who did come out and encounter Brock. Nothing happened to it, but I'm with you. You gotta strike while the iron is hot, and we're getting to a point now where we got to make sure that Brock's flame doesn't burn out here.
And I don't think Brock's leaving. I think he's going to renew when his contract's up in April. I just think he makes a difference, when he comes back, and his programs they make a difference, and that payday that he gets for how little he has to travel. It's a deal that works for both. I mean, I could see them trying to get more dates out of him, and I don't see UFC happening now.
It's hard to find opponents for him, though. It really is.
Well, that's when you start having him not win all the time. Now you have him start putting some more people over. Have him, in a long feud with Samoa Joe, where Samoa Joe gets the better of it. Or
it's also where him taking off time helps too, though.
Yeah, it keeps him fresh.
Speaking of Samoa Joe, tonight went up against Rhino, but first cut a promo, talked about Roman Reigns winning last week was a Pyrrhic victory, and then had to explain to the audience that a Pyrrhic victory means a victory that comes at a great cost to you.
Oh, only Samoa Joe pulled that off.
He really didn't win. Yeah.
How many people were Googling that term? It's like, how do you spell that?
Yeah.
Phallic victory. That's what it sounded like.
Yeah. Hey, he looked dominant over Rhino. I mean, which is funny. These guys have had some good toe-to-toe matches in the past. But this worked, right? Joe dropped him with the coquina clutch, reasserted his dominance. I don't know. I don't know where they're going with him from here. I mean, this is what I was saying earlier. It feels like there's so many different directions they can go in right now. I just don't know what they're going to pick, or if we're just going to kind of have a jumble until the WrestleMania plans start to solidify.
Yes, build him. This is just a quick little builder to remind people he's going in the Royal Rumble. He's got a good chance at winning. That's all this was.
It was interesting that he kind of specifically called out Cena, like they're kind of planting the seeds for that.
Yeah.
The rumor was that Cena's going to have a really big match at Mania, and it got a lot of people talking like possibly Undertaker. But this almost seemed like this was laying the seeds for that, like a WrestleMania match, because there's only one more Raw pay-per-view. I guess you could do Joe and Cena at that one. It definitely seemed like they were planting the seeds for something there.
Yeah.
It was interesting. They announced Stone Cold Steve Austin for Raw 25th anniversary show. And what if, and I don't think this is happening, but it's fun to speculate, but what if Austin's that big match for Cena? It's not Taker.
Yeah, right.
What if, though? That would be.
I thought he was too broken. I thought he couldn't.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know.
No. Hey, look. Taker's
I don't think it's happening either.
Taker, don't. I'm gonna be there in New York. Don't tease me, Raj. Taker's got two options. He's got two options. It's either Taker versus John Cena, retirement on the line, loser retires, which makes you actually speculate because John's got so much else going on.
Yeah.
It's either that match or it's Taker versus Braun. Those are the only two matches you have.
You got to admit, Cena versus Austin. If Austin ever agreed to do it, that would be the biggest match.
Austin's not going to. I'm not even going to entertain it. As it brings a smile to my face, but I don't even want to entertain this.
Like I said, I 99% don't think it's happening.
What happened when you were at the Broken Skull Ranch? Was Austin just drinking some of those beers? I was like, I'll tell you what, I'd come back for one more match.
He told me some stuff. I'll just put it. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, I'm just saying that's the biggest match. I think obviously it's not going to happen, but if they could, that would be their biggest match that they could pull out.
So here's the question: Is Hogan actually going to be a Raw 25?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
You think so?
Yep.
Oh. In this climate, in this atmosphere, the WWE finally is like,
yep,
we've got none of this heat from this Me Too movement, but we're going to bring back someone who is still fairly unpopular with the general public.
Brother, I'm thinking it's going to happen.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe.
Where is it from?
New York.
So they're doing two locations. The original Manhattan
MSG?
Center. No, Brooklyn and then the Manhattan Center, where the Raw used to be. Remember the first year?
Yeah.
So I think they're going to have like a lot of the. I don't know how they're going to do it. I wonder if like all these big stars are going to be at the Manhattan Center.
Yeah,
they're switching off. They're gonna show. I didn't know this. They're going to. I'm gonna be at the Manhattan Center. I know I'm gonna see more stuff on screens. They're gonna show screens to us of what's going on at Barclays and then vice versa. Taker will be at Manhattan Center. Nash will be at Manhattan Center. Shawn Michaels will be at Manhattan Center, but he might also do a DX thing at Barclays. I think Austin's gonna be at Barclays. They're gonna switch it around, but. I do feel pretty strong that we're going to see. I think we're going to hear that when it comes crashing down, it hurts inside at Barclays Center. I think Hogan's going to be there.
What a horrible way to just say his lyrics, by the way. Put some emotion in it.
Yeah.
When it comes crashing down and it hurts,
you got to have the guitar riff at the beginning.
There we go.
Okay, well, here's something I don't know if you guys caught
Matt's
tonight.
calling me out on the lyric.
So here's something I don't know if you caught this night. Someone who left the company under a cloud of less than favorable terms. They did say the New Age Outlaws are going to be there. Does that mean Billy Gunn makes his?
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so. Billy's clean and sober, doing fantastic. I hope he is.
Yeah, it's not like his release was something scandalous. It was
Billy's a great guy.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, at the time it was played. I mean, the way it was played up at the time. I mean, look, it's.
Do you know why he was released?
But Glenn, Billy's a great guy who got screwed when he got released. The whole powerlifting, what he did wrong thing was out months earlier.
I agree, and let me just say,
kind of a weird time to mention. I got an interview with Billy Gunn coming up on.
Can I just say for the record, I think
he's also a coach and a trainer. He's not a performer,
and that's why some people said there was an issue with it. And I'm telling you, I'm just saying this back since the days of Tough Enough. I think Billy Gunn is the most likable guy. He aged into such a great. Just came across better as he aged more and came across as the most likable guy in the WWE every time they did anything with him. Okay, so I think Billy's fantastic.
He's a thoroughbred. He could work the mid card of WWE right now and keep up with every one of those kids.
Yep. There's nobody with better cardio on the planet than Billy. I swear to you guys. And he's got asthma.
I mean, Paige had two wellness policies, violations. This was something that it was an out of contest thing that got leaked. And they just felt like they had to do something. It was just one of those that they wouldn't do it to an active performer. It was just they just felt like they had to do something.
I'm not saying he's like Bill DeMott or something like that. I'm not saying he like left on that, but at the time, I mean, it was a story for a couple of days.
It was a story, but that's nothing that they wouldn't bring him back for.
It was a bullshit story.
Yes, it was.
So he's going to be back. It looks like with Road Dogg. DX, yeah, I mean. The Bellas, they just announced so much tonight.
The Dudleys, who are rumored for the Hall of Fame this year.
Good.
Bam Bam Bigelow is rumored for the Hall of Fame. So yeah, they're going to have a bunch of APA is going to be there. They got it's. I wonder what they could.
I'll make a prediction. APA is going to beat Kurt Hawkins.
Yeah, that's what they're probably going to have them all come out like they did with Heath Slater. At Raw 1000, where they just take turns hitting their finishers.
Will Psycho Sids be able to overcome the Trump travel ban and make it to New York?
I have a feeling. I have a feeling they're not calling him.
What a Matt! I don't know if you're friends with them, so I don't want it. But
no, I did hear that. I never watched wrestling news or much, but that one I clicked on it and listened to.
Isn't that hilarious? I listened to the
bad.
whole call. I could not resist.
That's pretty bad.
My first thought when I heard, because the promotion AIW is just 2 hours from me, here, and when I heard that happened to them, I felt bad for them. And I'm like, it was into December. I'm like, man, softball season running into the end of December, just screwing them over. Sid can't make it because of the travel ban. Like, who would even waste the money at this point?
People who aren't familiar, Sid Vicious was booked for an indie show last week, an AIW show. The day of, they were trying to call him. He wasn't answering, so they finally called him from Hornswoggle's phone. He answered. He said that because of Trump's travel ban, he doesn't have his license anymore. And they wouldn't allow him to travel with his passport because of a speeding ticket that he had in another state. Now, granted, the travel ban is for countries, people coming in from other countries.
One of his stories,
he lives in Arkansas, right?
His Delta friend, his friend from here. Like the cockamamie stories he used were like, was kind of believable, maybe. Like his examples that he was using of other people this happening to, even though it's complete bull BS. You know what I mean? I was like, did he write this down?
Matt, did you ever work Sid? Have you ever worked Sid?
No. I was a fan of his, somewhat growing up.
I was too. He was someone that always had that look and personality, but just was never able to stay at one place long enough to become a superstar.
Yeah.
So that's Sid Vicious. Kevin Nash is going to be there. Did you see his knee? Yeah. We have a photo from over the weekend of his. It looked like The Walking Dead. Like he made a reference to it. It was the most hideous surgery picture I've seen in a long time. It's disgusting, but check it out.
So tonight, Nia Jax beat down Asuka. Asuka supposedly going to the ring for some mystery match against an unnamed opponent, but then Nia Jax shows up, beats her down. What do you think of this direction, Matt?
Not good.
Okay.
Asuka's supposed to be. I'm not even going to waste any more time. We wasted time on the other crap we were talking about. Listen, that shouldn't have happened. You know how I think we should be booking for Asuka? Strong, and stronger.
You know what that made me think, seeing this tonight, is they're not doing Ronda Rousey and Asuka, because I think you'd want, Asuka to look super dominant, and Rousey's the first one that gets the best of her, not Nia Jax, just a couple months, a few months before Mania.
They might not be doing Ronda and Asuka, but I'm going to disagree with Matt here because, and I'm a huge Asuka fan, but I'll say this: if they've decided they're not doing Ronda, and if they decided they're not doing Asuka and Paige, I actually think it was kind of a logical way they did it. Asuka comes out, she does her whole entrance, she does her top rope pose, and you've seen her do the same pose over and over. She's undefeated. What better time than to capitalize? Nia Jax comes out, unseen, drops her. I thought it was a good way to get Nia Jax an upper hand on Asuka, but Asuka not lose a match. I thought it was okay.
Doesn't it seem way too soon to be doing this? Like
she shouldn't. We should not have seen her on her back yet. Is what I'm saying. I don't get in any context. There's a vision that's now going to be played on all these replays of her on the ground, passed out. And we should not be seeing that. I don't care how it's done. Machete, Uzi, it doesn't matter. That makes logical sense how she went down. My point is, our vision should never be of her selling this early still.
Yeah,
Same thing with Nakamura, by the way. But I'll shut up on him because I don't get to cover SmackDown.
All right, but
you are welcome anytime, Matt, to come.
No, but Matt, let me go back to you with this one. I get what you're saying, but my response to that would be, you got to at least have the heroic babyface, in this case Asuka, have a little bit of doubt, so that way she could rise up again and win the 30.
She's not that babyface yet. That's not who she is yet. That comes down the road. You make her unstoppable, and that's what people pay to see. Believe it or not, I thought with her, and then when the time comes, we're talking a year down the road. This, Nia Jax comes along. Now I know injuries happen and crap happens. I get that. Find somebody else. I don't care. But I'm saying a match, and it's bigger a year from now. Finally, we see old girl on her back. Then we start to see her sell, and then it means more for her to come up from underneath. We don't care that she's coming up from underneath this early in the game. She's been on TV more than 6 months yet.
Right. The main roster people have only seen her, in the ring since October, so it hasn't been that
valid. But Matt, it was a cheap shot attack.
I said psychology-wise, it makes sense. I get it. It doesn't matter. What I'm saying is the vision. That's what this is about. The vision We should never see her selling yet.
It goes back to Goldberg. You didn't have anyone taking him out, for years, right? And it worked. And then when you finally do, it means something, even though they messed up Goldberg, but
we'll see. I could see them getting
to Justin's point. I see what he's saying. Like
you don't need.
I just think it's too soon.
You don't need to referee.
Raj, we're gonna bust out with an agree to disagree right there.
No. I'm not agreeing to disagree. I think this should have been held off till after Mania. That should have been her post-Mania feud. So that way you could give her 6 months of being really strong, and then you have someone take her out. She's got a big monster challenge, and
I see what Matt's saying. I'm just saying WWE logic is you still want her to have some hill to come over, so you need to have her face some adversity. If she just steamrolls everybody,
that worked in
NXT 101. Yes, this ain't Babyface 101 with her. She's supposed to be special and unstoppable, an ass kicker. Make her an ass kicker for a year, then let's see her, sell and come up from unsurmountable odds. Blah blah blah.
I don't think for a year. You don't have enough women to do it for a year.
She's teaming with a Miz.
We're talking like she's
challenge,
freaking Shawn Michaels fighting from underneath, and we're using that psychology. That don't work with her. It's not supposed to. At least we're supposed to see this. Just move on. Won't shut up.
By the way, she speaks English. I hate the fact they said that she doesn't speak English.
That was it was a good punchline.
Did they say that?
No, it wasn't, Glenn. It was a terrible.
It was a good punchline.
That was a stupid. punchline.
I mean, if they would have.
Guys, I gotta get my charger.
I thought that whole segment was cringe. That was like a cringeworthy segment. I thought with Alexa and Nia Jax.
Terrible.
I could see it being a good idea in a board meeting, but they just don't have the delivery to pull that off, especially Nia.
I thought it was okay. But more importantly tonight.
Yeah, didn't she speak English in that segment with Miz?
Yes.
She said like 3 words. I mean, it's a little different, I think.
But she understood what he was saying.
That's true.
She spoke English in the segment with was Alexa a couple weeks ago. Like, she speaks English. It's not like she's
like she can't say something that would be a secret.
She doesn't guys, at least they didn't do an impression of Alexa impersonating how Asuka said whatever she said.
She doesn't have
she
doesn't have Mr. Fuji at her side. She doesn't have Sakamoto at her side. She speaks freaking English. All right.
I'm excited about her teaming with The Miz. Could you imagine if The Miz became her manager and mouthpiece? I think that'd be fantastic.
No.
It's not going to happen. So, final segment of the night, Roman Reigns, Jason Jordan, and Seth Rollins versus the Balor Club, Finn Balor, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson. Decent length match. A little more now with the Balor Club. Not like we kick off the show talking about. Not really a face, not really a heel. Maybe going a little more heelish. But this is what we opened with. Justin, did this meet your expectations for a match of this caliber?
I mean, I was indifferent. As I said at the beginning of this podcast, I just this was the main event that I was, so looking forward to. I didn't know what I was supposed to accomplish out of it. It was a good match. It wasn't a bad match. I mean, you put these 6 guys together that are all talented, it better be freaking, subpar at least, right? But there was nothing about it that made me attentive to watch it. I was kind of, splitting my attention.
You know what sucked is, so how many people of their actual audience do you think watched these guys together in Japan as a Bullet Club?
That's why I give Cole, surprisingly, credit that he tried his best, to keep talking about it, putting it over. But WWE, once again, managed to screw something up that was good somewhere else and made something uncool. They made the 3 of these guys uncool.
And why not just do a video package this week before and it's kind of explaining their past, having them, talk about their past, showing, instead of just assuming everyone knows that they were close because Michael Cole saying it, and give a little bit of a story of why, a little bit more of why they're back together, what they're hoping to accomplish, just something, as opposed to they're just randomly together and here they are.
Even the backstage part, like the pre-tape, you guys saw that part.
Yeah,
right?
that was,
there was so much going on there that, like, I watched it. Like, I know all these guys, and I was like, I don't remember that. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? It just didn't come off as cool.
Yeah, it came very forced, and these guys have natural charisma. I will say this: I thought Finn seemed a lot more.
Didn't he?
You know what I mean?
He seemed comfortable.
Yes, exactly. And on the mic, it seemed like he didn't seem like he was reading. He seemed more in his element.
He did. I hate the name Balor Club, though. I hate it.
I hate that too. Yeah.
Sounds like a sail. I don't know why I keep thinking of like a sailing club polo shirt that says Balor Club on it.
Like Balor University in Texas, they have the trademark on it.
The Row Club at Harvard, something like that.
Yeah, seriously, that's what it reminds me of. Why couldn't they get Bullet Club? They couldn't just page New Japan lots of money.
No, they're making tons of money off of that, so they're not going to get rid of that.
Unless Vince has his hand in Wrestle Kingdom. Segue.
He doesn't.
Such a great show.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that in a second. But first,
we're going to talk about that. The Miz.
Well, yes. Okay, so Jason Jordan, his team disappointed and annoyed with him tonight. Balor Club did get that win, but afterwards, Roman was attacked by The Miz and The Miztourage, and getting a chance of one more time from the crowd and doing the skull-crushing finale.
I gotta say one thing about The Miz, and I think he's entertaining as always. I think that Rolling Stone thing was a joke, but it's hard to take him as a tough guy, and I feel like he needs to do some stuff that really leave somebody laying, really violently attack somebody. He needs to get that extra credibility to kind of go on from this entertaining, funny, but someone you don't take seriously to someone that you can really put in that kind of main event scene.
I know what you're exactly right. Do you remember though what it took him they put him in trunks. It took him being put in trunks, Vince getting behind him a little bit, and him doing nothing but getting serious heat on his opponents when it was time to get heat and stop the ha-ha crap. And he was saying, and remember back we're talking right around the seat when he was getting set up to work Cena. You know what I mean? And when he'd say, I'm The Miz and I'm awesome, he wasn't joking. He was always very serious as he was delivering it, if you remember. Very intense. It wasn't just a cool catchphrase, if you remember. Then people started getting behind him. And he was serious, but it took a whole year of that, if you remember. Yeah. A whole year of him being taken that way. So I don't think WWE is ever going to treat him that way because he's across all demographics right now as far as who he can reach. You know what I mean? As far as when they have all his tours and all this other crap that they have him do media-wise. But I agree with you. Once that bell rings, there is something. It's not because he can't wrestle. He's good. I think he's really good. He's improved immensely. He can get others over, but he's just what you said. He's not somebody I'm ever thinking is going to kick someone's ass. And I don't think he ever has a chance against Roman unless it's, slip on a banana peel or something along those lines. And you know what I mean? He cheats to win, which is good heat. Don't get me wrong. But you want to see, I know what you're saying.
He needs to be more sinister somehow. Like even in his promos, you can be entertaining, but be more sinister. Act like you really want to really do some damage to somebody. And not
go back to that Cena feud. That's when he did it.
Yeah,
years ago. But.
So that was Raw tonight. Second Raw, 2018. 2 weeks till Raw 25. 3 weeks till the Rumble. Wrestle Kingdom happened this past weekend. Chris Jericho versus Kenny Omega. Raj, why don't you give a quick recap of what happened, then we can talk a little more about it.
Sure. I mean, I'll do. It's been several days, so the results are all on the site. But I just got to say this: I'm not one of those. Everything New Japan does is great, and everything WWE does sucks. I think there's, I was ranting last week about how badly they were promoting this online in the States, where you go to their site, you can't find a link, you click it, it tells you the time of the show in Japanese, it doesn't tell you, and this is off their English site, and then what a pain it is to register on New Japan World. And when you spend all this money for Jericho, you're getting all these, English fans and not taking advantage of that. But this show was freaking great. There are some people that I was showing it to who aren't big wrestling fans who were back in the Attitude Era. They couldn't get into it. I think if you're not a New Japan fan, watch the last 3 hours from the Tanahashi match on. If you are, watch the whole show. I thought it was great. And
Cody's match was great too.
What's that?
Cody's match was great. The psychology in it versus Ibushi, that was a good match.
Yeah, Cody versus Ibushi was good. I thought Jericho and Omega, I was saying this is probably my feud of the year last year. If this match happened 5 days earlier, they just never had a match.
Basic, great old school storytelling. It still works. It still serves its purpose when done right.
And I think one of the key things with the Jericho match was, let's be honest, all four of us here are wrestling nerds. We all love the bit. We all understand it to an extent. One of the hard things about trying to draw somebody casual on is, people get lost on rest holds and slowing things down. That does lose a casual person by and large. And you watch this Jericho Omega match, and if you watch the video package of the feud that they had, manufactured prior, and then you get this match. This match is 35 minutes. There's not a freaking rest hold. This match was, but it wasn't lost. It wasn't just stupid spot. Everything had a purpose. I mean, they went outside to the tables, to the production area. They brought in chairs. They brought in everything, but everything had a purpose. And I really think that this was one of the better matches I've ever seen. It really was. It had an intensity that whether you listen to the English commentary or whether you listen to the Japanese commentary, the story came across. I really think that this, all the hype and all the bar that was set for Jericho and Omega, they met it. I don't know what's going to happen next. I know Jericho's got his cruise and he's working with these guys. I know there's a lot of speculation on the internet about maybe this was a tip
with Naito.
Well, and maybe this is a tit for tat. Maybe, Jericho came to Wrestle Kingdom. Maybe we're going to get Kenny Omega at the Rumble. I've heard all these tit for tat.
Well, they set up Jericho versus Naito at New Year's Dash the next day.
Yeah, right.
So that's where they're.
But point being is, I think that this was the greatest example of an ambassadorship of American fans not familiar with anything beyond WWE, and I think this just it did a great job. I think hats off to Jericho and Omega, really.
Yeah, and I think also Jericho kind of unhinged with his creative juices flowing. It just shows how effective, like what a mind he has for setting this thing up. And because Kenny Omega's admitted that most of this was Jericho. As far as
of course,
press conference and how realistic they made that look. This was the closest thing you see to an MMA fight. A scripted MMA fight. And I guess that's an MMA buildup as far as the superstar buildup, where you got these two big clashes that hate each other, and you don't have to do all these corny angles. You just keep it basic, and by the time the match starts, you just, even though it's not really there, you feel this tension. You feel like it's like you're seeing something special. And Jericho, I thought just did an amazing job. I loved everything about this. The one thing with New Japan, I wish they would light the crowd better, because they have 45,000 people there. You wouldn't know it looking, we're just watching it on TV.
With those faraway shots, you didn't pick that up?
But they would do them, like few and far between.
Do you see the difference though? Today's wrestlers in WWE worse. We're taught to work the cameras. We were over the years, right? From early on out to once we hit TV, and that's well and good. Too much now. Unfortunately, it hurts the product now. The wrestlers overly play to the camera, and that's the way the show is shaped now. New Japan, the camera works the wrestlers, the story. You see what I'm saying? Like they always pan out right at the right time. When Okada goes and calls for his stuff, it quickly zooms out like 100 miles an hour, and it shows the entire arena as he's holding his arms up in the air right before he hits whatever the hell move it is. Like they do everything with just perfection on that show.
Yeah,
it's just a different perspective.
But I think like you're talking about the long crowd, the crowd shots. Even then, the crowd is so dark, you kind of see like directly ahead of you, but you don't like see that the whole arena is full. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, well, because I was gonna say I don't know if you necessarily want to see them. They're sitting on their hands, just so you know. They're not holding signs. They're not going apeshit crazy.
Yeah, but it's like just lighting it so you see that there's people. But yeah, and that's the other thing is that with New Japan, those Japanese crowds, some people like it. I like crowds going nuts and being on their their feet and jumping up and down and chanting crazy things. And the loudest they got was the start. Not crazy things, but just really into it.
Like, who's your daddy? And both these guys.
Well, maybe not that, but like Rock versus Hogan is always my perfect example, where it's just going nuts and it gets you even more into it. But outside of those things, I thought this was awesome. And Okada versus Naito, what'd you think of that match, Matt? What do you think? What do you think that was the best match, or do you think Jericho or Omega?
Two very different matches. We got to be fair. But yeah, Jericho Omega was a better story. There was just more to it. Like if this was a book, this was a better book. It just was a better book. The better chapters. It crescendoed at all the like. Of course it was because Chris is in it. Chris is a master at this, at crescendoing the matches at the right time and sucking you in at the right time and pulling the carpet out right at the right time to piss you back off. He did a fantastic job as usual, but on a different level with Kenny. And Kenny. I'm a huge fan of Kenny Omega, but he stepped up. He needed to show an aggressive side of him, and he definitely delivered in that regard. He was very comfortable out there. I thought at the beginning you could tell he was a little bit, I'm not going to say nervous, but probably a little anxious. But he calmed down after a while, and he's nasty. I love Kenny Omega. I like the story better. I just liked that story better. But I don't know. I watched the Naito match, and I love his character. I love his character.
I think he's the guy. Okada as a personality just doesn't. I know what they're doing with him. They're just making him they're making him like the Anderson Silva almost, where he just, wins and gives these great performances. But Naito just seems like a superstar.
He does. He's got this cool thing about him, man. I don't know how you describe it to another American fan that doesn't watch wrestling. If I told you this, like, hey, this guy does this, you're like, what a loser, what a friggin' scrub. Who cares? But like, he's cool as hell. That's what I get from him whenever I watch Naito.
Yeah, he's got that swagger. He's just got that whole bit down. So I was a little disappointed that he lost, but
me too.
Yeah, I agree. I like Jericho Omega because of the story. If you look just as a match, you could probably say Okada versus Naito is better, but I think just all the elements involved made Jericho and Omega one of the best things I've seen in wrestling in a long time. This from start to finish.
And that's a hell of a statement. Like, you know what I mean? Think about how much pressure was on him. Him being Chris more than Kenny, in my opinion. On all this build and hype. Nothing ever lives up to the hype. Very rarely. Yeah. This surpassed it.
Yeah, so it's going to be Jericho versus Naito. It's looking like it's going to be at the Long Beach show. And so, like I was talking about the crowd, so with the American crowd,
wow.
I think that's going to be nuts. So
yes, it will.
For that, tickets go on sale in a few weeks. So the ticket information is on the website wrestlinginc.com.
Yeah, we were talking about it last week. I know some people in the chat room were saying it. I think there's a case to be made that given the year he had last year, Jericho was probably superstar of the year. Across the board. I mean, not only does he work in the WWE, but with the podcast, announcing the cruise, stuff in New Japan. I mean, even with his band. I mean, he came out to, his own hit song, a song that actually is charted. When's the last time a wrestler could make that claim? Like, I put something out and it had crossover appeal. I mean,
Stand Back didn't do that?
Stand Back. Now that you bring up the entrances, that was the one thing. What the frick was Omega wearing when he came to the ring?
Halloween.
Okay, the mask thing was kind of cool, except when he had to keep readjusting.
He's like fixing it on the way to the ring.
He looked like a little kid.
I was like Halloween,
culture, man.
And Jericho's gonna take his candy from him.
I hate saying that. I love Kenny Omega.
Yeah, same here.
But you can't help but say that. You're right.
I know you're trying to make it seem special and do like a WrestleMania-ish entrance, and you did the Terminator thing before, but good God, that looked like you broke into some kids' toy chest and stole their stuff.
The gun I thought was worse than a match.
Oh my God, it's like this paper mache gun.
Yes, that he was able to shoot and aim with one hand. And it was a 4-foot gun.
Yeah, you see someone coming to face you and they're wearing that. It's kind of like
it's a different culture, man.
You go back and watch it. Chris Jericho goes, "You look stupid."
Did he say that?
Yes.
I missed that.
You stupid idiot.
We'll see what Long Beach does in March. That'll be, I think, a further test of his power. But no, I think right now, he's in the power position, man. Anything he does, even more, I don't know, than what Cody and the Young Bucks are working on.
Let me say this real quick. Omega's promos. I thought his after show promo wasn't good. Not because of what he said, his voice inflection. He's like, "Man, I thought that this match," like he talks in this weird voice. I don't get why he doesn't use his real voice.
Yeah, that drives me. Yeah, I've been thinking that for a long time. His promos.
People are gonna yell at me because they love him. Let me tell you right now, Mark's watching this. I love him more than you, so shut up.
No, Matt.
What am I? You know what I mean? Do you guys know what I'm talking about with the voice?
Yeah, he talks like this, and
I'll deflect some of the heat to me right here.
Why is he doing that?
Kenny Omega speaks. Kenny Omega speaks like a guy who hasn't been to the show yet. He doesn't speak on the level of Jericho. He doesn't speak on that level.
Why not just use his real voice? Like, why he's going out of his way to use a voice that's not his?
Yeah, it seems like he's thinking about how he should sound while he's talking, and it makes it not sound natural at all.
Yes, Raj, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. He does not yet own and accept and monetize who he is. He is still trying to be what he thinks the fans want him to be. He has not found his true voice.
Yeah.
I completely agree with everything that's being said right there.
Because I think most people watch a promo is, and they're like, why is he talking like that? I doubt that's how he really sounds. But yeah,
when he's joking around on like
being the elite
show, being the elite, it's funny when he does it because it's almost in a Will Ferrell type of manner, right? Every once in a while, I'll hear him do that voice. But like in a serious post-conference like promo, and every major magazine is there from Japan, like that ain't the time to be using that voice.
Yeah,
let him. You know, he did go in and out of it though. He did go back to normal voice, I thought, for a minute, right? Toward the end there, there's. I don't know if you guys saw it.
I did, but yeah,
that's the only thing I think he's missing.
It takes the intensity out of it when he's over enunciating like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Long Beach, March. That's Jericho's next match in New Japan.
Man, and one more thing about New Japan, I think they are missing the boat. Like the iron is hot right now. Like they're at like their popularity is at an all-time high. I don't feel like they're doing enough on that in the United States. I feel like there's such a demand for it. They're not meeting it. And
as far as coming here more,
like they're just doing Long Beach again. Why not try? Why not tour? Why not do like six shows this time since it's sold out so fast? Do one in California, Texas, Florida, New York, the East Coast, and
Wouldn't New York pack it better than Long Beach?
Well, the cost is higher, but I'm sure it would. Yeah.
Why not? Why not Chicago?
Chicago, yes. That's what I'm saying. Like, do like six to eight shows, and do live access shows, and you got this fan base that's really
the best city.
Yeah. You could do Florida. You could do New Orleans during WrestleMania week. I mean, why just do one show in Long Beach again when you're this hot right now in the States? So I feel like the opportunities are missing.
It costs all that money to get them over here.
Yeah, but they make all that. There's instant sellouts.
So what I'm saying is, it costs all that money to get them over here from Japan. So why not do more just based on economics? I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. No, for sure.
I don't get it.
Yeah, you're just these one and dones. I don't get it. Yeah.
Yeah, a Jericho flight from whether he's coming from LA or Tampa to Chicago is cheaper than anywhere else.
Right. And you don't need to have all your Japanese talent either. They have a lot of American talent. Bring some of the guys from Japan to like the Ishii and your top guys. Yeah, Naito, Tanahashi, and then use a bunch of your American talent. Use some ROH guys, and you got a show, and it's going to do better than anything else. That's not WWE out here. So do something, guys. The iron's hot. Strike.
In my opinion, they've got a better show than WWE right now. This is my opinion. Pay-per-view wise, the last two pay-per-views I've liked better. I
agree, but I think the crossover, it's still not American enough for the mainstream, for like a non-wrestling fan to become a wrestling fan. But they do the shows here with the crowds here, the commentary, the promos. Mix in more American talent, you got something.
We've got to talk about this. The American commentary was off the chain. Cyrus crushed that Jericho match. Dude, he killed it. He had so much passion in his voice, and obviously he's part of the storyline. I get that he knows him in real life, but I don't care. There was a passion in that dude's voice that you're gonna think I'm crazy. It's kind of JR-ish to a degree as far as how much of his nut he put into that.
Yeah, someone's bringing up that they do the New Japan ROH mashups. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just New Japan and their storyline.
Full New Japan show, yeah.
But what I wasn't as impressed with was the JR Josh Barnett commentary.
Yeah.
So I watched the New Japan one, and JR and Josh Barnett, they sound a lot of times like they're just kind of, they don't know who a lot of the storylines, and they just
those two covered Wrestle Kingdom as well.
So they did Access
for Access.
They did it on Access. So they redid the American commentary with JR and Josh Barnett. And
for Wrestle Kingdom 12?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was on Saturday. They did a 3-hour special, and they're going to show more of the matches on Access. The 4-way they're going to show, and I think the Young Bucks match they're going to show this Friday.
I think on this whole topic, and I'm a huge Jim Ross fan, as probably all of us are.
Me too, yeah.
But here's the reality. Everybody gets older. You get older, it's your craft. Jim Ross went and did the Mae Young Classic, and they had him go back to New York to re-record things because it wasn't satisfactory to what they wanted. My point being is that Jim Ross, you can never take away, and if JR ever hears this, I'm saying Jim Ross is a legend. But the thing is, you get older, you get to a point where it's like, you pass your prime, or you're not with it as much. I think Jim Ross and Josh probably did their best, but I think with today's landscape, JR might not be the best guy that's out there anymore. And again, I'm a JR fan saying that, but if we're just speaking real here, I think that the expectation that Jim Ross has for fans, okay, it's Jim Ross, so the bar has got to be here, and to try to do maybe what's being asked of him, and do you have knowledge of these characters? Do you have knowledge of these storylines?
Did he do that? Did he sound like that again in this Wrestle Kingdom? Like he didn't know the characters again?
Yeah, like Red Shoes. He wasn't aware that his son was attacked by Jericho at the beginning. He's like, wait, is that his son? And there's just things here and there where you just kind of get the feeling like they're getting caught up a few days before. And you know what? I'll say this about JR. Him and Lawler call a match or matches at Raw 25. It's going to be the best commentary on WWE since, Morrow and Lawler at least.
Absolutely. But again, you got to give the other team their credit. Kevin Kelly and what's his name? Cyrus.
Don Callis, yeah.
Don Callis destroyed it.
Yeah, they got a good thing. I feel like I know for Access why they want to have JR, but I just feel like if you want to bring that product, and that's pretty, those are their guys, is Callis and Kevin Kelly now.
I'm confused. Where are they announcing then? Like, what did I see that they were announcing on Callis and
So that was the live version. So New Japan World was live, and then they record it like a day later with JR and Josh Barnett.
Got it.
So I think that's a part of it too, is they know the results, so they're doing the commentary, trying to act like they don't know, what happens.
But isn't that more reason to know Red Shoes Kid? That made like every podcast, everybody talked about that, how they like that wrinkle that Jericho added to the match. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, on Access now in the US, or you can get it through New Japan World streaming. Cool, man. So barn burner of a show tonight. Lots to talk about. Thanks everyone for tuning in.
That's why I thought of it.
Mr. Matt Morgan, what would you like to plug before we take it home here?
That burp representing that show. How about that?
There we go.
Justin, where can everyone find you on the internet?
At Justin LaBar on Twitter. Everything I got to say is on Twitter. I'll be at Raw 25 in Manhattan Center in 2 weeks. I don't want to promote it, but maybe I'll try to call into this podcast. I don't know, but I'll definitely have my thoughts on Wrestling Inc. So again, if you still want to go to Raw 25 at Manhattan Center, it's still possible. I have links on my Twitter for tickets that are there, so check me out.
Cool, man. Raj, you got an interview with? Oh, I'm sorry, Matt. Go for it.
Sorry. I want to plug one thing, and that's the idea. Fans get to vote one of us off the show each week. I'm pushing for that.
All right.
Matt, you're just going to be thinking, man.
Don't cut it off, Raj. I'm going to say it again. I'm just trying to cut it off and make it go away.
I'm not cutting it off. No.
Hey,
I'm kind of curious myself.
Lengths like this, Matt, I think you're going to be thinking, how can I get voted off so I can go to sleep? Get some goddamn rest.
No.
Yeah, just make fun of Kenny Omega some more. You'll get voted off. They love him right now. On the site, Billy Gunn, Jimmy Jacobs, Kevin Kelly, who we were just talking about interviews with him. So all this stuff coming up. So check it out.
And I'm Glenn Rubenstein. You can follow me on Twitter at Glenn Rubenstein. And we'll be back here Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern, to talk about SmackDown Live. So until next time, folks, I'm Glenn Rubenstein, and we'll see you back here on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Take care.
You just got me.